The sound of thunder deafened the final screams of the Anglo-Saxons, who were surprised by the arrival of the Northmen. The rain washed out their crimson blood, soiling their own grounds with mourning and defeat. And within this bloodshed, Jarl Ulf took life for the glory of his people. As he cleaved his mighty axe into another victim's throat, he thought about how it all began.
On June 5th, 793, a storm was approaching the shores of the Kingdom of Northumbria. A few months earlier, Althing, the Council of Vikings, made the decision to plunder its largest abbey, the famous Lindisfarne. One of the leaders of this expedition was Jarl Ulf Ironbeard, a stern but respected man among his people. However, it wasn't meant for all of the Northmen to reach Lindisfarne by the sea. A storm that hit the coast of Northumbria has scattered some of their ships miles away from their destination. Ulf's raiding party landed near a town called Bamborough. The Northmen saw it as an easy target to plunder. Little did they know that all of Northumbria was just coming out of a bloody civil war. Troops of a new King Ethelred were battling remnants of recently murdered King Osred's loyal army. For this reason, heavy garrisons were scattered throughout the country, and one of them was stationed just outside Bamborough.
The Northmen headed down the coast as they saw their Jarl standing in the distance as fire rained down on more incoming ships. The Jarl himself ran beside his brothers, some of who he knew since they were children, standing together now, side by side, to share in the bloodshed.
Looks like the storm has set us all off the course.
We'll never break through with those archers shooting at us!
Let's try to encircle them. There should be another way along the shore.
The men bypassed the gate and made their flanking maneuver across the rocks to the right.
by those archers!
They will taste our axes! Charge! We need your help, move! Forward!
And the Jarl's axe tasted blood for the first time that day. It had been too long since life had been taken for the glory and honor of the Northmen. Their next targets were the archers and soldiers behind the gate to relieve their fellow allies of entering the camp. Spears and axes broke shield and bone as skulls got crushed beneath the leather boot of the invader. Those weak of heart fled into the camp and left their fellow brothers to die by the ruthlessness of the Vikings. None were kept alive as preparations were made to assault the buildings.
We need to destroy these buildings to prevent reinforcements!
Before reaching the huts, there were those who resisted, to stand and protect their fellow wives and children, noble but foolish, as they died without changing anything about their loved ones' fate. Those hiding in the huts regretted doing so, as the Northmen barricaded their doors and started burning it down with the people still inside. With the rain having stopped, their screams of agony in their final moments could be heard across the entire village. As more huts and shacks were burned to a crisp, the Jarl's forces headed deeper into the settlement to make sure no one was spared. The Jarl himself ran ahead of his troops, his bloodlust knowing no form of quenching. Then all that remained was the final building across the bridge. There were those making a stand once more, but it was futile. The rest of the camp had already been taken, so this battle had been fought for naught as well. As the Vikings set the last building in the center ablaze, a rider with haste warned for enemy reinforcements being inbound.
Brace yourselves! They're coming in great numbers!
These enemy soldiers were not your regular scrubs. They had experience. They had seen blood before, and they had killed before. Their armor was heavy, and swords were sharp. It was now the Northmen that found themselves being overmastered.
We will not pass them! Retreat! Into the woods!
Overwhelmed by the forces of the enemy, cut off from their ships, the Northmen had to escape. Those who did not retreat in time lost their lives or became captives. Once harsh invaders looking for prey, the Northmen suddenly became prey themselves. Luckily, they found salvation in a nearby forest, which became their temporary shelter. Here, they could catch a moment of respite from the pursuing Britons. Here, Jarl Ulf Ironbeard, who suffered injuries during the fight, could heal his wounds and recover. However, a new problem arose for the people of the north. In order to survive and to have any chance to join the rest of the expedition against Lindisfarne, they had to gather food and supplies.
You made it! Good to see you alive, Jarl.
We retreated as soon as they started winning the battle in the village.
We lost many good men in there, and many were taken hostage.
Tonight, they dine in Valhalla.
Look! It's our scout! He's back!
I found food supplies. There is a farm and a hunting hut north from here. If we plunder both places, we will have food for many days.
We cannot go! We need to patch our wounds.
Take care of your warriors, brother. I'll get those supplies.
The small group headed through the thick forest, the lights next to the nearby huts being their guide to potential food and bloodshed.
Stop. Someone's coming. We can't let them alarm anyone. Let's make an ambush in one of those bushes.
Once they hid in the tall grass, they waited for an opportunity and ambushed their prey, eventually pinning the helpless fool onto their spear. They continued to gather food and supplies from the stockpiles across the area, but they would need more and headed deeper into the unknown territory to look for more places to loot.
Wait. Someone is coming. That's a strong squad. They probably got a camp nearby. Let's hide in the bushes and wait for them to pass.
It was a battle they could not possibly win, and so they stayed in the shadows, ready for the torches and noises of marching boots to disappear in the distance. Further ahead, they stumbled upon an unsettling sight.
Look, an abandoned camp. It will be a good place to rest. It seems like they are taking our allies somewhere.
With their allies captured and the rest of the group crippled, the three roamed further for their honorable quest to get everyone back up to strength. Hey everyone! Thanks for watching this pilot episode of Ancestor's Legacy. A big thank you and shout out to Mank, who purchased me this game. Since it takes a long time for me to do these narrative series, and there's only so little time, I sometimes will do these pilot episodes to see if there's any interest for a narrative series on a particular game. If you would like to see more episodes of Ancestor's Legacy, please let me know in the comments, but also share it with friends, as in the end, views will determine if the game will get a full-blown narrative series. It will be standard for a pilot episode on my channel to always have a second episode to measure the continuing interest. So please look forward to at least one more episode, and if there's enough interest, an entire series. Thanks for the support.